Today we're announcing Spotlight, and Spotlight is our org health and security optimizer for Salesforce. We've been working with our tool Snapshot, our other application, for many years. And in that time, we've been talking with administrators and with consultants and people that are running Salesforce orgs and really getting an understanding of what they need to really keep those orgs running in tip-top shape. And one of the things that we've heard is that the existing tools out there really were not helping them comprehensively address getting their org optimized from a security perspective, from a technical debt perspective, and from a best practices perspective. And that's really what led us to Spotlight. So, if you look at things like Salesforce Optimizer, it tries to address this problem, but in a very micro way. It's addressing a very small subset of what needs to be optimized in your org, because optimization and best practices and security really spans a lot of areas. And that's what led us to, there we go, to Spotlight. Spotlight contains over 150 tests or scans that we do on your org. And those scans are broken into categories, and they cover things like security risks, compliance problems, forgotten assets and unused metadata, what Salesforce loves to call technical debt, and a huge slew of best practices that we spent a ton of time gathering to really help you optimize your org. It also does things like helps you discover and remap things from inactive users, helps you find licenses assigned to inactive users that could save you money. And it even does stuff like helps you find bugs and security flaws within your Apex code. So, each of these tests that we do on the org are customizable. And that's really important because everybody's got a little bit of a different business process. Everybody's got different needs or requirements and maybe different definitions of things like what constitutes, a field not being used. So not only can you run these different scans on your org to find these things, but you can really get them optimized for what makes sense for your business process. And what's really exciting is the tool is really growing into not only letting you discover all of these things so that you can clean up your org and really for the first time with Salesforce, get it comprehensively put together in really optimized shape, but it's going to be able to monitor your org over time so that as you've got it put into shape, then the wheel starts turning again for these things to occur. It's going to be able to monitor all of them and let you know as they occur so you can continue to maintain your org in an optimized framework. So we're super excited about it. As you can see here, it's got a lot of different categories that it covers. We're going to show you some highlights from that today. Obviously, we can't show you all 150 tests, but what we've really got here is the first and the premier comprehensive scan that takes the idea of an optimizer, like a Salesforce optimizer, but does more than 5 times the amount of reports and goes into lots of areas that are critically important, not just technical debt, but things like security to make sure that you don't have vulnerabilities in your org, that things are GDPR compliant. It covers things like looking at inactive users that have been improperly assigned licenses, finding code problems and vulnerabilities. So we're looking at a really, really, truly comprehensive scan that's going to finally really allow administrators or consultants or whoever's managing those orgs to truly have the information they need to really optimize the org in a much more comprehensive way. So with that, I'm going to jump off here and give it to Sridhar, who's going to take us through Spotlight and really give us a look at how the product works and what you can do with it. So Sridhar, off to you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Let me share my screen here and jump right in. Awesome. So what you are seeing here is the very first screen of Spotlight, how to launch Spotlight. Before we get into the product itself, quick blurb about the architecture. There is the quintessential managed package that you need to get from AppExchange there. But the real work is really done on the client side. So we have followed the same architecture that we had with the other product, the Snapshot product, as you can see here. So what you get from that architecture is really security. Snapshot as a product line has been used by the who's who of Salesforce. And one of the things that they have told us very, very clearly is security is very important to them. Their metadata, data, or security credentials, they can't just take up and give it to yet another vendor and trust them to hold on to it tight. And we are seeing a lot of hacks going on in the world there. So this stuff is very, very important to them. So with that in mind, we continued on with our client-focused approach where you're running this on your machine. It's a client, so you can put that on your laptop. You can put that on a cloud server that is in your control, or if you want to put that on a server on your data center, wherever it is, it's all in your control at all times. So you can launch it from that client, and that talks directly to Salesforce and back. We don't come into the mix at all. There is no Metazoa cloud or servers anywhere that your metadata, data, or security credentials is piped through. Right? If you are already a Snapshot customer, you already have that client, just install the managed package and you can get started. You can get started right away, right? Which is what I'm going to do here. When I launch it, I'm going to go into Snapshot and I see the login screen here. I can jump right into my org there. By the way, if you're going, we typically expect this to be run in your production org there, but if you want to start off by going into one of your sandboxes, whatnot, for trial purposes, go right ahead. Just choose the org that you want to log into and move forward. I'm going to log in and launch the application, and it pops open. This now is initializing itself. And some of the things that Tom mentioned there, you're going to start seeing. You're going to see the list of categories, and then we'll go into some of the reports themselves, and we'll get started. To start off with, there are 8 categories. We tried to cover some of the issues that nobody is really helping you with. I mean, this is all taken care of by you, the administrator, using elbow grease. And that's a lot of work. We want to make sure some of the ways of identifying those security risks and compliance issues and best practices just ready for you to use. So you kind of grouped our reports into 8 different categories: security risks, compliance audit, and of course, some of the technical debt cleanup stuff and help you see user adoption, and then everybody's favorite best practices to help you see what are other people doing, how does that match up with what you're doing in your orgs, things like that, and then code quality. With any of these categories, to just get started, all you need to do is just choose one of these things and you can jump into any of these reports. I'm starting off with one of these things that I personally liked: users with administrative privileges. There are various things that you can jump into. I wanted to see who are the users in my org that have administrative privileges, right? I mean, this could be anybody who has modify all data or view setup and configuration or something like that. And for every one of these reports, there are additional parameters that you can customize. And this is one of those things that Tom was talking about. Everybody has a different need, a different org type. And to suit that, we give you ways of customizing these parameters. In this case, if it gives you more than 4% or less than 4% of your users are administrative users, Salesforce actually recommends one administrator per every 100 users there, but we tried to look through everybody's org there. So we brought that up as percentages there, which is all customizable. And anything that you want to choose, you could go with it. You could go with just looking at active users or inactive users as well, or you can manually select the users that you want. So maybe you're looking at the first 2,500 users or something like that, and suddenly something crops up in there. Maybe that might be a way for you to highlight, this is unexpected, I need to go trigger on it or something like that. Either way, whatever report you choose, you can customize those parameters and run that report. One quick thing about the way to run it, very, very simple. Just click on the preview, the report executes, comes up with an answer. And one of the things that we have done here is, as part of this, in addition to just listing out the details, we have provided a way for you to directly go in and see information about this. So all you need to do, and this will automatically log me in and go into the org itself. So I clicked on Bill Appleton user there, up pops the record. I'm looking at the user there. I can go into user detail, get a little bit more information. And this can be done for anything and everything. If I want to go into a field or a validation rule, whatever be the case, I have everything listed right here that I can click and go directly into those things, right? Also, this is, of course, running this for one particular report. You, as part of looking into your org, might want to do this for multiple reports. That's what these checkboxes are there for. I can select multiple things and then go directly into display report, which executes both of those reports. Multiple reports, could be 2, could be 10, could be 20, it doesn't matter, and then gives me those details. And as part of that, what it also does is gets that summary and then puts that out in a nice little table. Right? And all the results that you're seeing, the summary information, the security risks information there, where release updates are overdue or something like that, or my users with administrative privilege, whatever I'm choosing right here, you can right click, export that to Excel, HTML, PDF, or CSV. For those of you guys who are already familiar with our snapshot product line, this is very similar to that, but this is extremely key because you have a way of exporting this information and then passing that around, especially when it comes to some of the summary information. This is useful because you might not just want to provide all the details related to your reports there to a manager or a director of IT or a VP or CIO, to get them to focus on what you want them to focus. Might be too much information for you. That summary very clearly calls out what things are problematic, what things you've been talking about for ages, and they never really had the time to sit down and understand properly because it takes too long. We are now getting that in a way that is immediately visible for you, right? A couple of other things I want to quickly point out here. I did talk about how, and Tom did that as well, how there are about 150 reports, right? And if you just open it up, there is a whole bunch of these things that you go through. And some of our customers there have said, people who have tried it out, hey, this is too much information. Where do I get started? You have your quick links. I want to start with my page layouts. And of course, I have a typo. When I start typing page layout, it narrows things down. It could be for anything, for a profile or from Apex code, classes, whatever you choose, just type in what you need. It narrows things down. And as you're going through that, you can, again, just like before, select what you want, narrow down these processes, and then export out the results that you want, right? Very quick walkthrough of playing around with these customizable parameters as well. If I choose, say, too many required fields on my page layouts, this is one of those things that has forever been a problem with Salesforce. Sales users come in and enter the information, but some of those guys skip out on entering all the information there. So we as admins are forced to get them to focus, get all the information that they should put into the system by requiring those fields. But again, where is the boundary there? Put too many required fields, it becomes a problem for those guys. Put too less of them, you don't get all the information. This helps you get that right balance there. This again goes through and audits everything, and that's why we put that into the compliance audit perspective there. And when you run it, gets those results for you. And as you're browsing through that, if you feel some of these things are too tight and such, you can modify that. You can say, I don't want to stop at 4. I have some really big page layouts there, so I want to bring that up to 10. Customize that for my personal needs or my company's needs there. Now, when I run the report, it narrows it down to only a few page layouts there that have way too many required fields, right? And that's true for all over the place. Apex classes or page layouts, whatever that you want, you can quickly narrow things down and then execute them, right? One more quick thing that you could do here is, let's say you want to go into some Apex classes. You could run some things that call out to external services, or some things that are defined as web services, and then somebody else from outside is calling in to your Apex classes and getting some information there. Because we provide the facility to go in and select different things, if anything that falls beyond that can also get highlighted for you. So if anything that's a surprise for you, this can highlight those, so there are no surprises. And that's really going towards that security monitoring, security risks that Tom was highlighting, right? So we've tried to make this as easy as possible, as customizable as possible, and we're going to be iterating on this to bring you more and more in addition to the 150 reports that we are chunking into 8 different categories, right? Very quickly about some of the things that we are bringing in addition to what you are seeing here today. First, starting off with, I did talk about how everything is put into a summary. So you get the summary table there. So if you select multiple things and run a report, how the summary information is brought out. This is now very much textual. We're adding some color to this, bringing this information out as a graph. So maybe you might want to send those graphs out instead of just the tabular information. Some of our early adopters have come up with that, so we want to add that in. So that's coming out shortly. Second thing is, as you are playing around with these parameters, right now you have the ability to bring back the old defaults. You can select multiple things and then bring back the old defaults and start afresh. So maybe during trial, you're muddling around there. You don't want to persist those settings and start over. You could use the default values, but we are enhancing that to bring in industry-specific values. So not only can you compare against every Salesforce org out there, you could really narrow it down and say, hey, I'm from an insurance industry, or I'm from a healthcare industry, or I'm part of the manufacturing industry, whatever. I can now go in and say, compare against like Salesforce orgs, and then show me those details, show me what's working for me or not, right? So that kind of customization is coming shortly. Third thing is scheduling. Right now, all these reports that you're running are all run manually. Very shortly, actually it's like a week or a week and a half away, we are bringing in scheduling. So you really can monitor and identify what things are suddenly cropping up in your Salesforce org without you having to go in there and manually run those reports, manually look at the results there and see what's going on. These things can be brought to your purview without you having to do anything, right? We'll have appropriate triggers and whatnot, right? So those are 3 high value changes that are coming up shortly. Lastly, again, as I mentioned, we are adding more reports there. The first set of additional reports we are bringing in is focused on that security risks, and more compliance reports are coming out. So that's slightly low-key compared to the other ones, but here are our thought processes related to what's coming. And of course, all the safe harbor rules and all that stuff apply. So that Spotlight, the idea again is to help you get a better idea as to how your org is set up, what are the problems with that, what are the things that you could be doing differently. How do you compare to some of the other people using Salesforce, and what are the things you could be doing better, and what are the things that could be tweaked, things like that. That's really what Spotlight is about, to shine a spotlight on what things you are doing well, what things could be better, what things are potentially waiting to jump up and bite you. Thank you so much for your time. With that, Tom, let's jump into some of the questions that are coming up.
Yeah, Sridhar, before you stop your share,
Yeah.
I think the first question we got out is some people would like to see some of the reports in some of the other categories. We didn't look at forgotten assets, technical debt, user adoption, and active cleanup. There's definitely a lot there. And I think some people are wanting to get a more comprehensive understanding of what all the tool can do. So maybe just
Sure.
highlight a few. You don't have to necessarily run the report, but just expand them and show some of the, generally what they can do in those areas.
Absolutely. Let's go from bottom up so it's much easier. Code quality. We are running some code quality reports to tell you how good the code quality is. And some of those things already existing in Snapshot there. But we wanted to go beyond just that to identify how good the code quality is. We are talking about how, what Apex classes are being treated as, what Apex classes are doing callouts, what Apex classes are being used as web services, so they are calling in, what things are maybe too big for you, what things are kind of combined into too few test classes, so your test classes are covering too many things instead of being true unit tests. Those kind of things are being covered under code quality. Best practices, and this is one of those things that we've been getting a lot of feedback from some of our Salesforce MVPs, some of our Salesforce customers there, and Salesforce themselves. We've been talking to some of the product managers to figure out what things that they are hearing some of our mutual customers there are having, where we can help. So this is coming in and looking at your org and telling you, where are some of the things that are having too many record types or too many validation rules, too many required or unique fields there, or looking at the data itself, what cases are overdue, tasks are overdue, opportunities overdue. So it's looking at both metadata as well as data to help identify how good how are you matching up with some of the industry best practices. Inactive cleanup, this is actually a very large category there, a whole bunch of reports. This is looking at various things. It's looking at users that are connected to too many things that are, and the users themselves are inactive, or some of the things that have, inadequate settings set up. They have not been cleaned up in a while. Some, inactive users in your case settings or account teams and things like that. Or let's see, permission set licenses, permissions that's assigned to inactive users, permission set licenses assigned to inactive users. Those are all things that you have problems with, that where you're losing some money there because you're paying for these licenses, especially towards managed package licenses there. So to reclaim some of those things, this goes in and highlights all of those things for you. User adoption, people who have not logged in recently, or more importantly, have not really modified any data whatsoever, right? Salesforce gives you that user adoption dashboard that tells you what set of users haven't logged in 30 days, 60 days, whatever. But people might be using Salesforce mainly as a reporting mechanism. So they have just come in, not really done anything other than viewing data. So you might be better off giving them a slightly lower set of privileges and things like that. This can help you identify those perusing users only, not really doing much. Technical debt, fields with too many empty values, and that also looks into default values, not just fields there, some of the pick list values, custom profiles and permission sets, not really utilized fine. So these are, again, looking at things that are just lying around in your org and things that can be cleaned up. And you can look at that as in combination with some of the forgotten metadata, things that have been set up, but not really utilized right, duplicate rules that are not active, or data category groups that are not being used anywhere or being active, flows that have been set up but not turned on. Could be lightning record pages that have not been turned on. Somebody set that up but haven't activated those things. It goes through a whole bunch of ignored metadata, if you want to look at it that way. And the compliance audit, this was the other thing that I was talking about to a certain extent there. Too many reports compared to active users. A lot of the large companies, people are moving really, really fast. So they set up reports when they need it and they don't really jump into them after. They use it right then, they ignore it, move on, and create another report because Salesforce makes report creation really easy. So it goes through and then weeds all that stuff out, or at least surfaces all of these things for you so you can decide what to do about it, right? Or some of the other problems, fields with labels that look like other fields there, or objects that look like other objects. And going back to some of the GDPR problems that Tom was talking about there, data fields that are missing compliance information, right? Just, you might be in the European region there, or you might be doing some business in the European region, and GDPR really focuses on getting some of these personal data PII set up right way and handled the right way. You might have Shield turned on, but you're not, encrypting some of these things automatically. So it helps you identify those things for you and suggests, hey, these things should be encrypted. These things should be set for compliance, things like that. So that's some of the other reports that help you, again, make your org better by surfacing things that might be lying around that you knew existed, but you didn't have the time to go in and investigate. And of course, we looked at the security risks for a bit there, find out what profile permissions have changed in the recent past there. So if somebody changed the profile, gave themselves modify all data, or view setup and config or something like that, it'll surface all of those things for you. And then you know what really happened. And combine that with some of the scheduling things I mentioned is coming up. You can now automate it and get that as a report. Hey, this profile was changed in the last week there, and you didn't expect that to be changed and things like that. Those can act as that org monitor that you really need. So I know it's a long answer to a quick question there, but hopefully that gives you a better idea as to how we organized the reports under various categories. And again, as Tom was saying, this is really where we are just coming in and helping you, get better, get moving faster without doing too much work.
Thank you, Sri. Sri, if you'll drop your share there, I'm going to share a slide and we got a bunch of questions. So let me try to hit on as many of those as we can. Let me just share my screen here really quick.
Good. I like questions.
All right. Okay. Just wanted to put this up for those of you that need it. This is kind of just giving you our contact information. So as we're answering questions here, we can hit on, you can know where to find us. But also in the chat, I put a link to Spotlight on the App Exchange, as well as Spotlight on our website. So you can definitely get a lot more info there. By the way, there is a free trial. The way it works is you can run all the reports. It does limit the number of answers you get back. So if you're looking at unused fields, you're going to get the first 10 or whatever. But it does let you run it on your org with your metadata, with your data, and really see how it's going to work for you, see how those links drive you back into Salesforce, really let you get the feel of it so that you can understand how it's going to work. So also some upcoming events. We're going to be at it's now Trailblazer DX and Midwest Dreamin'. So if you're in that area, please come see us. We would love to see you. So with that, I'm going to start hitting on some questions here. Okay, so got a question here. Can we talk about licensing or adding this on if we're a snapshot company? How would we'd like to add this? How does that work? Yeah, so as you may have seen with the forgotten assets, there is some bleed over. There's some of the reports in Snapshot were too good to leave out of Spotlight, so we had to move those over. But we're offering huge discount for any existing customer that has Snapshot that would like to get Spotlight. So just reach out to us. You can email us at the sales@metazoa.com if you want, and we'll get you the info on that discount, but big discount so you can add this. And the product is licensed per org. So this actually goes to another question. How many orgs can I use this with? We license it per production org. So rather than per user or whatever, what we're doing is licensing it for a production org, and that includes any associated sandboxes, developer orgs, or what have you. So if you license it for a production org, you pay a fee for that production org. It unlocks it for that org and all the associated orgs, and it's unlimited users. It's on full unlimited support, unlimited training, unlimited reporting. So you could license it for as many production orgs as you need. All your associated orgs will be covered. And that's how that works. And again, if you'd like to get pricing and that kind of thing, reach out to us. And by the way, that same awesome discount we're offering for for people that are Snapshot customers, we're offering for anyone who's a new customer who buys both. So if you're interested in Snapshot and all the cool tools it has, I saw someone asking about org comparisons. Does it work with GovCloud? Yes, it does. That's a Snapshot feature on our other tool. So definitely hit us up. We can demo that for you. But yeah, we're offering those discounts for anyone that buys. So we're bundle pricing essentially to really make it attractive, so you can kind of get the whole spectrum of everything that we can do. So some other questions we got here. Are there discounts for scale with production orgs? Yes, we will volume discount. So if you get more than one production org, we'll cut a discount off the top. If you got a bunch of production orgs you need to work with, let us know and we'll get you the discount on where that would take you for, in terms of the discount. Okay, so some other questions.
Quick blurb there, just adding color to what you mentioned. The question about the government cloud. Yes, we will be able to work with government cloud, and the question specifically was about Compare, which is the other product, as Tom was mentioning. Part and parcel of the way we do things is because this is a client, it doesn't matter whether you have a government cloud, health cloud, financial services cloud, whatever be the case there, we can connect with any and all of those things and work with it. And because this is running on your machines, security is automatically taken care of. We never receive anything. You have the metadata, data, and security credentials in your control at all times. So type of cloud doesn't matter. Zero trust environment, so that part also is taken care of. So just wanted to add that to Tom's answer.
Thank you, Sri. So we got a question here. Can we provide just a high-level overview on how Spotlight differentiates with the default org scan Salesforce has available, the org health check? Yeah, so to answer that question, it's actually more than 5 times in terms of comprehensive, but it's also just about categories. We go into security, we go into many forgotten assets that aren't covered at all by that. We go into lots of security problems around profiles and things like that. Code scanning for quality, finding security vulnerabilities in your code. So it's just a huge swath of things that we cover. Now we cover everything that's covered pretty much in the org health check as well, so you can get it all in one place. But it's as we said, this really came about because there aren't existing solutions that offer a comprehensive scan that looks at it from multiple perspectives, not just, what fields aren't being used, but also where are my security vulnerabilities? What are the best practices I should be following on a slew of different things? How are my licenses assigned improperly? What's going on with my inactive users? Lots of areas that really fall into optimization that just aren't being addressed. And we wanted to try to pull all that together in a comprehensive way that, we really feel hasn't been seen by anything else out there. So Sri, is that covered for you? Don't add any color there? Okay, we're good. Okay, so this is a good one from our dear friend, Andrew. How's it going, Andrew? Is there any dynamic guidance provided on how to address the results of the reports? If you are pointing out problems, the user would like to know how to remediate them. So Sridhar, you want to comment on? We can comment about how this is a very complementary tool for Snapshot, because Snapshot actually gives you tools to fix these things. That's why we're really trying to push some really attractive bundle pricing, because we think they work great together. But we also give you the links back into the org, right? Any item that you see that's detailed in any of these reports, we link back to it in Salesforce. First, we tell you what's wrong. This, this user hasn't logged in X amount of time. You could click and go right to that user. So we are putting you back in the org where you need to fix it. But obviously our other product, Snapshot, has some really powerful tools that makes some of the fixing much easier and much more attractive. This is a great reporting tool and great scan to help you know where the problems are and to take you to where they are. Snapshot's a great complementary tool that lets you actually go in and fix it. So Sridhar, you have any color there?
Yeah, I want to tout my team's capabilities here. As we do with Snapshot, the support team is really entrusted with understanding your org's requirement and talking to you about, hey, you might want to go do this or start here, things like that. So that's one of those things that we keep answering about some of the org optimization questions. Everybody starts with fields there. We turn around and say, no, don't really start with fields. Actually start with some of the reports, workflows, and then back into fields there, because fields, even though it looks like a low-hanging fruit, it's not actually that easy to optimize fields. Bottom line, we take care of that guidance that you guys need through support, through training, and that's all folded into the license price as well. So when you have that need, when you have that report, when you want more information, reach out to us. You always have those videos to help out, but when you need additional help there, reach out to support and we'll be able to guide you through any and all needs.
Yeah, it's a big thing for those of the people on the call that are our Snapshot customers. I think they'll back this up. We do a lot of business process consulting that we don't charge for because, these are complex problems that our tools are solving. And so we try to white glove it and make sure that we really help out. So question here that I want to answer: any additional plans for consultants and ISVs? Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Obviously, licensing it by org is a barrier for a consultant who's out working with 20 different clients. So we do have special pricing for consultants that's per engagement rather than per org. And just reach out to our team. You can hit up the sales team there and we can walk you through it. But yeah, we definitely do. These are obviously really great tools for consultants. We've already gotten a lot of that feedback in the early betas, because a lot of the consultants, these are all problems they want to go solve for their customers. So imagine running this thing and saying, here's all the problems with your org, and then you go bill for the services and fix it. It's a powerful tool for consultants to actually go out and make more money. So yeah, we totally feel you, and we're definitely going to have your back. So question, is there ability to schedule a report or deliver reports via email? I think Sridhar addressed this, but let me reiterate it. Yes, we have a Rev 2 coming out very shortly. I know it's weird to release a product and then release a revision of it very quickly thereafter, but those of you that know us from Snapshot know that we do that a lot. We're always innovating. And so, yeah, we're working right now on a full monitoring scheduling interface for the tool, where any of the 150 reports can be set up to run on a schedule to check for these things and then alert you via email by dropping the report into a folder like content or posting to chat or whatever it may be, Slack, to alert you that these problems are happening. So it's actually really powerful, this next phase, because we have a tool that if you got an org that's complex and got a lot of issues that you need to clean up, obviously the tool's great for that, right? Go scan my org, find where the problems are, get them squared away. But then those problems start again. The moment you're done, they start again, right? So keeping your org optimized is really where the power of that scheduling is going to come in. You're going to be able to set it up, let it monitor the things that matter to you with the parameters set up like you want them, and have it tell you when things are going wrong. Hey, this security issue just cropped up. So you could stay in a consistent state of optimization. So really powerful feature that is coming very, very soon. Okay, is there going to be, this is a good one, is there going to be a connection between the tools eventually? So yeah, I think to address that, they're going to be separate tools. There's going to be Spotlight, there's going to be Snapshot. You can buy them together, you can buy them separately. But there's obviously a lot of complementary things between the two, as we've discussed. And so for customers that have both, we are talking about building more sort of deeper integration. So like if you have both, you can kind of flow between the two in logical ways. That's probably, a future rev, but because as we're working on some of those immediate things that we talked about, but definitely on our radar. Right now, you can have both, run both, jump between them really quickly. So yeah, thank you for that question as well. So I think that's it. Let me check to see if I missed stuff on the chat. I'm sure I did because I
There's
was.
one question that we didn't address, or maybe worth addressing again, Tom. What is the main difference between your products, Snapshot and Spotlight?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you look at, there is a little bleed over. There's some reports around forgotten assets and technical debt that are in code scanning that are in Snapshot already. That's one of the reasons we offer a really nice discount if you're an existing Snapshot customer. But there's obviously a ton of new reports, best practices, security scans, a lot of stuff that's in Spotlight that you don't get with Snapshot. But at its core, that's what Spotlight is. It's a big scanning tool for your org to go through all those categories and discover where your org needs to be optimized. Snapshot is really a workman's tool, I like, or a workwoman's tool. It not only it gives you tools to do things like edit and manage your security model, your profiles and permission sets. It has data migration built into the tool. It's a full, robust release management tool. It's got lots of remapping tools if you want to remap data or metadata from a user to another user. So Snapshot's really a toolbox for administrators or consultants, whoever's managing Salesforce orgs, to do all those different things inside of the org. Whereas Spotlight is really the ultimate org scanner to really help you see where all the problems are and give you links into those problems. So again, very complementary tools, but obviously a lot of functionality in Snapshot in terms of doing work with your orgs.
Spotlight is for the planners, Snapshot is for the doers, put very, very simply.
We got a really important question here. What team is going to win the NCAA March Madness final? Man. Of course, I'm voting Cinderella. I went to the University of Tennessee, so I was, of course, hoping that my Tennessee Vols would not disappoint me being a 3 seed, but they did. So I don't know. Gosh, we'll see.
My bracket is already blown, so I'm going to stay out of this
bracket
one.
is blown. Happens every year. Awesome. Okay, well, I think that's it. I think we hit all the questions today that we've got. If you have more questions, you can see right there on the screen. Just reach out to us. We'll be glad to answer anything that you have. We'd love to show you a demo of the tool. So if you want to jump on and do a demo, if you want to just hit the app exchange, I've got the link in the chat. Just go hit it, download it, let it do a metadata backup, and then run any reports that you want. You won't get all the results, but you'll get enough to see it working with your information and to let you know what it does and what it's going to do for your tool. And we're here to help. So let us know how we can. Thank you, everybody. We're super excited about it. So reach out to us. We'd love to get you up and running with Spotlight.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.